Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it is that time of year. It's the time of year when Ripple Swell is coming up, this time in Dubai. It is that time of year that the rumors begin to swirl. They always do. They swirl about the upcoming Swell, and that there's got to be some huge announcement coming up. So this time is no different. There is one difference though. Ripple did just make an announcement that they had a partnership with Uphold, and so for that reason, the rumors now is, well, if they made that announcement before Swell, there's got to be a real big announcement at Swell. Well, let's take a look at who's going to be at Swell. It's in Dubai, like I said. There's the Dubai International Financial Center Authority. It's going to be there. Of course, Brad Garlinghouse, Monica Long. Anybody else interesting? There's the guy, the CEO of Mataco. Look, right here, we'll focus in on this one. Evie Thunis is the head of digital assets at DBS Bank. Don't sleep on DBS Bank or the fact that there's somebody from Circle there. Clearbank, there's all kinds of interesting people. There's another person for Circle there. Go figure. And then you have, let me see if there's anybody else that catches my eye. But I want to take you back to DBS. I was at Ripple Swell in Singapore 2019 when the CEO of DBS came. Here he is.
Lots of excitement right now, and particularly in your part of the world, about digital currencies and digital assets. What can you tell me about the prospect of a DBS digital currency exchange?
Well, I think this notion that everything is going to tokenize and digitize is very real. And therefore, to be able to help companies raise capital in different forms, securities token offerings is something that we think will start happening at scale. We also believe other forms of digital assets like cryptocurrencies are going to continue to be extremely popular. And so that is something that we are actually indeed studying, trying to put together an infrastructure that can help companies raise capital, that can help investors access digitized assets, and to be able to support the market in some form. It is something that we are in the process of working on. And so all I can say is watch the space.
Well, there's a thumbnail. Watch this space.
I know a lot of people are. Is this somewhere, and I know it's a case of talking
This is from right before the lawsuit was dropped on Ripple back in 2020, by the way.
Regulators and getting everybody comfortable with what's being achieved here. Is this somewhere where I think Singapore specifically and the regulators there are flying the flag, because there's a real sense, certainly, that other nations, like the United States, for example, are behind in preparing for customers getting access to this and banks providing access to safe access?
I have to say that in the last year or so, the regulatory response to this is beginning to change in many parts of the world. In fact, as you know, many central banks are actively pursuing their own central bank digital currencies. It's not only in our part of the world, but also in many of the Western countries. The Canadians are doing it, the Bank of England is doing it. And so I think there's a broad-based acceptance that tokenized digital assets are on us. Some countries are further along, others are less so. But I do think, in addition to the stuff we talked about, that over the next year or two, this focus on central bank digital currencies is going to continue to increase, as of course, other kinds of digital currencies. So I think everybody is going to be part of this game sooner or later.
Yeah, I love.
That's correct. Here's Naveen Gupta talking. This is from back in August 2022 from Bull Diep. Check this out.
So firstly, almost majority of the banks, and I just want to be very open, are using the messaging layer of the Ripple net, right? Where they're essentially communicating with A and B in a super efficient manner. And that is scaling up, right? Banks are using us more and more across more corridors, right? So for example, they may start with corridor in India. Then they say, hey, you know what? I want to use you in corridor in Pakistan, in Morocco, in in the US and in multiple countries around the world. And primarily they were using Swift earlier, and they start to use RippleNet because this essentially allows them in terms of standardized API capability between two institutions, right? Most of the customers who are using us for the second part, which is the liquidity part, in which XRP is used as a bridge, are regulated PSPs, right? Or fintechs, which are essentially using it. Because for them, cost of capital is prohibitive, right? So on an average, sometimes the weighted average cost of capital, WACC, could be up to 30% for a fintech, versus for a bank, it tends to be almost zero because they have got huge amount of depositors. And then the last thing that I would say is, having worked at two banks for the last 15 years, banks are inherently conservative, right? It will take them some time to get comfortable with digital assets, even though it is being passed on through the regulated exchanges, right? So banks will take a little bit longer time in terms of adoption, but all of them are watching. So if you look at DBS, the bank in your region, they are already selling Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP to its customers. There are a lot of other discussions we are having with banks as well, who are saying essentially our customers want to buy digital assets and how do we participate. But has it come in terms of in an active form on our platform? It hasn't as yet, for the use of XRP as a bridge to transfer value.
That was 2022, folks. What kind of decisions have been made now that the lawsuit has been finished up, imagine these banks that have been sitting on the sidelines all these years, and all of a sudden they have to be salivating. Maybe we can have a DBS bank announcement at Ripple Swell. How about that? How about them apples? Okay, check this out. Senator Cynthia Lummis is asking Department of Justice to criminally charge Binance and Tether, but she's not saying anything about Ethereum or anything having to do with it. ETHgate, she's seen it. She knows all about it. It's been in front of her face 1,000 times, but that's okay. The disguised whales, the potential money laundering that could entail, that's fine. Cynthia Lummis does not care about that. None of the other lawmakers seem to care about that either. That's fine. And I'm not saying not to go after Binance and Tether. All of them probably need to be looked into, but they just, for whatever reason, they don't seem to be interested in finding out about what in the world went on with ETHgate. Why would that be? Now, this is a great clip put out by Crypto Darren. He is one of the good guys in crypto and should be followed at Fame21 more. And he's on YouTube as well, and puts out some really great content. So check this out. This is a great clip of Stuart Alderati telling you how much of an effect the XRP community had on the Ripple case with the SEC. Watch this.
Incredibly well-paid and talented army of outside lawyers. But most of the time, I was finding out about developments in the case from Twitter, because Twitter was posting those developments in the case. There was another individual who started posting long-form videos. Every time that there were filings in the case, a video was posted where he would dissect the different arguments and give his view. For the most part, it was spot on. And then, of course, there were others who were out there saying, hey, look, the SEC, to the extent they're purporting to represent and protect retail holders of crypto, they're not. And I represent the retail holders of crypto, and the retail holders of crypto are telling you that the SEC is hurting us. So I think the combination of all of that, the combination of the truth coming out in the legal proceeding, the combination of our own comms team sort of seizing the narrative and never letting up, and the combination of this organic support coming up through the community, principally on Twitter, I think all of that combined really developed some incredible momentum in the case. I mean, when we would get on, and this was still COVID early on, when we would get on the phone with the judge to argue a motion, I think the first time we did that, the phone line could allow for 500 participants to call in, and it was maxed out instantaneously. And then eventually it was like 5,000 participants can call in, and then that would get maxed out. So the judge is not immune to that. The judge realizes, wow, this case is getting a lot of attention. And again, maybe what the government is telling me is not something that I need to take at face value, and I need to pressure test. And again, all of that combined, I think, led to the result that we got.
Folks, don't underestimate what really happened here. The XRP community literally changed the world, altered the course of history, in my opinion. It's not my opinion. There should be, and I believe will be, not one, but probably multiple movies made out of what the XRP community did. If I was a betting man, and I am a betting man, I'm a wild speculator, as we say. Now, while I was listening to that video, something totally caught my attention. This comment here, I don't know if somebody said something to Darren, but Darren, this is a hilarious comment because Darren is such a mild-mannered, nice person from what I've observed. I wanted to meet him in New York at the proper party, but I didn't get to. But he's such a mild-mannered guy. But apparently somebody called him a bad word, and he said, if you said that to my face, you'd be toothless. Well, in my experience, the mild-mannered guys are the ones you watch out for. So I would imagine that Darren probably could back that up because he's a very mild-mannered and kind of measured guy. So Stuart Alderoty's got that same kind of personality. I bet Stuart Alderoty could punch somebody in the face too. Feisty. Usually those are the guys that don't say anything and then all of a sudden somebody's on the ground knocked out. All right, we're going to head off into the private group, and at daixrp.com, I'm going to tell a story from ETHgate that I've never told on the channel before, and this is something that actually happened to me, and it's a true story. So come in there. We're doing all kinds of stuff. I'm even in there. I ordered a camera holder for my truck. I'm going to do videos occasionally from my truck. I'm doing all kinds of things that I'm doing there. It's actually kind of, I feel free in the group. I can finally tell you what I really think about things I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube. So see you there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that I just told a story about ETHgate, something I've never told, in daixrp.com. Sure did. Thanks for listening.